Welcome to That Heartbreak Hogs podcast. If you are new here, please consider hitting that thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. Please comment down below your thoughts on our takes. And with that being said, we are going to head into the video that you came here for. We are back. We missed Tuesday because it was game day. They're usually on Wednesdays, but we decided that we were going to record right after because win or lose, there was going to be something to talk about. So we won. Who would have thought? One other thing before we hop into this one is last episode we kind of talked about South Carolina and the other games ahead. I think that it was Texas, South Carolina, and Vandy. And so Sid had brought up that he thought that Adu may be out, and I looked it up and I found that he wasn't going to be out. However, I looked up Jonas Adu, not Adu Thero. So if we had known that Adu Thero was out, I think that our predictions would have been different.
No, I knew it was a dude through. I was surprised at your reaction of, it'll be fine. It's like, okay.
Oh, he'll be fine.
You're like, we'll be okay. I was like, okay, are you sure?
Yeah, I thought that it was Jonas Adu, so I was looking up Jonas Adu, and it was like, no, Jonas Adu is going to be in there, and I was like, okay. And then, like, right after we ended, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Adu Thero that he was talking about. So anyway, honestly, I think that I would have picked one win with Adu out, and it actually probably would have been the South Carolina game, and then the rest of them we would lose. I had no confidence going into this Vanderbilt game. After the South Carolina burn the tape situation happened, I was like, yeah, this is going to be tough to watch. The rest of this year is going to be tough to watch because they're going to fall out of the fall out of tournament contention. So Sid, what did you think about the games? I guess Texas, South Carolina, and Vandy last night at the time that we're recording this.
Yeah, I mean, Texas was a great win. I didn't have us winning that win, if you remember. But obviously it was very hopeful, and we talked about it where if we beat Texas, it kind of opens the door a lot more. And you had brought this up where it starts with Texas. I mean, if we beat Texas, that's essentially like almost guaranteeing us to like, or having a good chance for us to make the tournament, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we beat Texas. And when we beat that, I felt great. And I thought, okay, great. We got South Carolina. We'll have another win. That's back-to-back, another win. And it's 3 wins in a row, right? But then we lost.
Little did we know.
To South Carolina. And then I was bad to South Carolina. And I was like, all right, here we go again. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think about the Vandy game. I'm back on, hey, let's just hopefully we win one of these two, whether it's Vandy or Mississippi State. And I'm glad it was Vandy, so that now against Mississippi State, it kind of, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but glad it was Vandy because now against Mississippi State, it kind of frees us up a little bit, in my opinion. And I'll tell you why towards the end, or when we get into that Mississippi State game.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, it was rough because I felt the exact same way after the Texas win. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, that was a big milestone that we had to go and cross, and it was just like, okay, we are now 2-0 against Texas. So if they have any contention, or if we have any type of battle of getting in, we can afford to be like one game behind Texas, I think, and still get in over them. Like, you cannot put Texas in over Arkansas when you've beaten them twice. And so it's like, okay, great. Now we're going to South Carolina. Okay. Let's just not lose to South Carolina. Whatever you do not lose to South Carolina. You can win this one, and then like the other games, they're not as needed. But no, he lose to South Carolina, and all of that confidence, all of that relief that we had after beating Texas completely went away, and it was like, oh no.
Yeah, our rankings dropped quite a bit
Mm-hmm.
after losing to South Carolina, understandably,
Yeah.
but um, yeah, it was just I think everyone's was had that same thing on their mind, like
Oh
this Arkansas
no.
team. Oh no,
Yeah, and it wasn't just
so,
like we lost to South Carolina. We got our cheeks beat, dude. It was
yeah,
embarrassing to watch. It was tough to watch. Like it was just like, wow. But then after the game, whenever you're just kind of absorbing, you're like, how could this have happened? It kind of made sense a little bit. They only have a 7-man rotation. They went into overtime the game before. It's looking back at it, hindsight is 2020 or whatever, but you look back and you're just like, it kind of is understandable why that
mhm,
happened. Let's see what happens against Vanderbilt. And then we saw
right,
that when they rested and they got, back on pace and they got back into the gym and they just reset, they looked a lot better. They looked they
right,
looked a lot better. And I'll put this out there too, which is interesting, is Vanderbilt was coming off of an overtime game with Missouri. They lose to Arkansas.
mhm,
We came off of an overtime win over Texas. We lose against South Carolina. Maybe overtimes, just for every team, when you have to play in overtime, Mississippi State, they're coming off of an overtime game with Texas. That may have something to, that may,
yeah, yeah. Let's not jinx it yet, but I
yeah,
get it. I'm thinking the same thing where it's any given game, like we mentioned it before,
yeah,
where in the SEC you can't count out anybody, and
no,
these when you think of an underdog, it's still a dog
yeah,
where they are gonna come out and fight no matter what, and if you even let up a little bit, they are gonna own you, and understandably, like South Carolina, they had something to prove and if
mm-hmm,
we let up on them and they owned us.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it really is something that we got to keep in mind as we go on to the SEC tournament, as we go on to the tournament, um, not to like count anybody out,
yeah,
especially SEC opponent. I think right now we're the first four in, and if it stays that way, it's still going to be tough to get in. I saw last that the first four in was us and Ohio State. As of now, if it stands, we'd face them. But like you said, we still got Mississippi State, and Mississippi State is much higher than us. And I believe they were ranked 7 currently in that March bracket. So I
so,
think I think beating this Mississippi State game or winning this against Mississippi State is only a huge step up. Losing to Mississippi State is just it's okay. It's I don't think it will hurt us too much now, but I think winning this helps us a lot.
mhm. So I'm on the ESPN website right now, that has the bubble watch.
Mhm.
It looks like that the last update was made yesterday, which we're recording this on a Wednesday, March the 5th. The game was on Tuesday, March the 4th. It says that Joe Lenardi's last update was on March the 4th as we're recording this, March the 4th at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. So, the latest bracket bubble situation with Lenardi, at least from what I can see when we're recording this, is after the South Carolina game, we were the last 4 in. Now, after beating Vanderbilt, who at this time, whenever we played them, I think was an 11 seed. Let me see here real quick. A ninth seed. Excuse me. A ninth seed. So interesting. What a roller coaster that we've been through, man. Like we go from, I think that we even got a 11 seed after beating Texas. We lose to South Carolina. We go back all the way to last four in. Texas is sitting at last four out while this is going on.
Mhm.
And then now we beat Vanderbilt. So I'm assuming that we are now going into the Mississippi State game. We're probably going to be right around that 11 seed in a game, I think. Um, yeah, I think so. Um, here's the other thing is Georgia. So Georgia is like right in front of us, right next to us. We beat them head to head. So you've
Mhm.
got to consider that like they cannot put Texas or Georgia in front of us. The only one that they can maybe slide in front of us is Oklahoma. And Oklahoma, they lost again by while this was being made before they lost the game after this was put out. So anyway, I mean there's a lot of scenarios. Yeah.
Right. Because I think, I mean, Georgia still, I know we beat them, but them beating Vandy next round, I think puts us still a game behind. And so I think that's why I was saying, and I believe that this Mississippi State game can't take lightly. Um, we still, if we go out and win this game against Mississippi State, and we have a lot going for us, like you had mentioned, they're coming off
Yeah.
an overtime loss that beat, but we have a lot to gain from this, from beating Mississippi State and getting that higher seed. I don't know if we're fully in yet. Still in that last four in, yes, but in terms of outside of the last four in, I still see that we're last four in.
Right. So that's not updating the Vandy game though.
If it was, I think I saw that it did. It said Razorbacks beat Vandy, and
From Lenardi's on the ESPN website that I'm looking
mhm,
at, the last update was game day in the morning. So before the game got played, because we played at 9 at night, it was updated
yeah.
at 9 in the morning. Um, but yeah, I mean, who really knows too?
That's
That's the
still
other
crazy.
thing.
Like it's like the conference breakdown. We had predicted this at the early in the season. SEC teams, it could be almost every team in the and
Right.
from the SEC that makes it in the tournament. It just about is. It's currently at 12 teams from the SEC that are projected to make it in as of yesterday. But that's crazy.
So we have the same record as um Georgia right now, and then I think Texas is one behind us. So in the conference, we have the same record as Georgia, and then
Mhm.
we are one game in front of Texas, one game behind Vanderbilt, and one game behind Mississippi State. So if we beat Mississippi State and Vanderbilt loses again,
Yeah.
we
I think we
just
could go as high as seven.
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
this is a big opportunity here too. It's like I personally think we are in. I
Yeah.
think that we are in. 7 was kind of my number of you're likely to be in with 7. Now, I think you'll be guaranteed if you go
Yeah,
to
I'd
8.
rather not be the last four in and then kind of
Right,
have to fight to
exactly.
get in again.
Exactly. Like I think you're in now, but I don't think that it's locked in.
Mhm.
Because Texas could still win. Georgia can still win. Um, OU you're kind of fighting off, and I don't know, man. It is there's a lot going on, but maybe they take 3 of those 4 SEC teams. Like there's that too. Like it may
Yeah,
not be where they only take 1 or 2. They may take 3. Um
right.
so I think they're
I mean, right
in.
now with the projection of 12 teams in is just is kind of is insanely high too. But
Right.
when you look at it, I think it's very well deserved in terms of how these teams have played and kind of beat each other up in almost a sense. Besides
Right.
Auburn, I know
And
they've gotten
yeah.
lucky a few times, but
And outside of conference play, they were winning. They were beating these other teams out of the conference. Um, yeah, it's. I think they're in, but I do want to see them still beat Mississippi State. And looking at the
right,
ESPN matchup predictor, believe it or not, Arkansas is a 57.4% favorite hosting Mississippi State this weekend. This is just a matchup predictor on ESPN, just the computer, which
right.
is really interesting. So,
I think it could possibly be numerous reasons. Us being on a coming off of a win, Mississippi State coming off a
mhm,
loss, Mississippi State coming off the overtime
right.
win, us getting a decent sized margin victory, and like
Yeah,
I think it's a number of those combinations where they now finally see that it can be matched. Like, but
right.
again, that doesn't mean we overlook Mississippi State.
So it's prediction time, Sid. What happens against Mississippi State? Do we lay an egg, see, nowhere to be found, and then make a run in the SEC tournament? Or do we win against Mississippi State, and who knows, we may go one and done in the SEC tournament? What's going to
Because
happen?
we're apparently we're the best predictors out there, right? We
Yeah.
knew we were going to beat South Carolina,
Yeah.
and I knew we were going to lose to Texas. So I'm the best predictor out there, right? I should go the opposite, honestly, but I really think we beat Mississippi State, and
Uh-oh. That's
that's
not
what
good.
worries me.
That's not good.
Right?
Oh.
That's what I'm thinking. Like I'm like, oh, should I like do reverse psychology on myself?
Yeah, yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's not good, man. So you're taking
I
the Hogs over Mississippi State
I
then?
think you even talked me a little bit into it with the overtime talk about just coming off an overtime
Yeah.
game and kind
It
of
does
being
seem to
beat
be a
up and
trend.
playing the same week. Um, Seems to be a trend, and the trend makes sense. Now I know it's a last game, and this I had originally initially in the season or a couple weeks ago actually talked about Mississippi State is not going to have anything to fight for.
Mhm.
They might not have anything to fight for by this time, and then they'll just kind of overlook us. They're not going to do that anymore. They do
No.
have a
They
lot to
kind of
fight
do
for,
now. Yeah.
just like Arkansas. So I think it's going to be not an easy matchup at any cost, but
No.
I think we're capable of a win
Yes.
um, and to
They're
finish
definitely
strong for the season.
capable. Yeah, they're
And we got
definitely
embarrassed by
capable.
South Carolina. I think you just come out and show that was just a mistake.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and at home, it's going to be the last home game. It should be really electric, especially coming off
Right.
a win like that. I think that Bud is going to be electric. It's not the end of the world if you don't win
No.
this game, but let's go get another W. Let's solidify our spot in there and show that we deserve there. Not just, hey, you know what? They won some games. Let's put them in there. No,
Right.
show that you need to be there. Go and win some games. Show that you can compete without Thero. And then when you
Hmm.
get him back, go in there and really, surprise
And
some
it gives
people
us
in
a
the real tournament.
better seating, honestly, as well
Yeah.
in the SEC tournament,
Yeah.
which is another thing that would help us. Like,
You could go into the
um,
SEC tournament with some momentum, and
right.
get some wins. And then maybe if you can get a couple wins in the SEC tournament, hell, even go to the final, win the whole thing, that would be awesome. I mean, that would
That'd be
really say where you are, because, if you
yeah.
lose this and then you drop one the first game in the SEC tournament, we're going to be sitting here going like, do we deserve to be in there? You know?
I think I'm so excited for this SEC tournament though because it's like I know there's some teams that are better than the others, but this any game given is really
Yep.
going to come into effect this SEC tournament where I think it's gonna be chaos personally. And
Who's your dark
who
horse?
knows? Dark horse. If I say Razorbacks, if I don't say Razorbacks, no one shoot me.
Yeah.
Um,
Outside of
honestly, I don't
Arkansas,
know.
who has a chance of winning the SEC championship? Who's the
Yeah.
dark horse here? I got mine.
You got yours. You want me
Yeah.
to say mine first?
If you've got one.
Who's your dark horse?
Georgia.
Georgia.
Mm-hmm. I think
Really?
Georgia comes in. Yeah, Georgia's been looking solid, man. I think some of these other teams are just gearing up for the SEC or for the NCAA tournament that are already in, and they're trying to see like who they'll get matched up with.
Yeah.
Georgia still has a lot to play for. They need to get in, and they've been beating some good teams lately. Um, so I think that continues into the SEC tournament. So I hope we don't play Georgia. Also,
No,
because
that's
if
a
you
good one.
lose to Mississippi State and then lose to Georgia, now Georgia can hop you and you can be
Right.
left out. So that's the other thing here is like just solidify yourself by beating Mississippi State because it can get really bad even with that great win over Vandy if you don't win this one and you lose to say you play Texas or say you Georgia, Texas or OU. Well, not OU, but well, yeah, if OU gets another win over you. But if you get matched up with any of those,
I don't know if you saw the score, but OU is destroying Mizzou right now. I mean, I think it's still the first,
really,
but
so
it's
that's going
50-37.
on live while we're recording
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Um, I
Any
saw
given
that.
game, man, it's just crazy. I think it's going to be chaos on chaos.
Well, Florida is
Uh,
about to win at Bama, and Georgia not too long ago beat Florida. Um,
mhm.
yeah, you're right. Mizzou is just getting stomped by Oklahoma at
And
half. So
Florida's
we'll see
beating
what
Bama. You just
happens.
said that.
They
Yeah.
won. It's over.
Oh,
Oh wait,
it's
no, it's
over.
not over. Sorry, it's not over. It's not over. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it looks
Um,
like it will be.
it will be
Um,
soon.
yeah. I honestly
So
wouldn't count out Florida. I mean, but I don't, honestly, Georgia's a great pick.
thank you.
Um, Georgia's a great pick. I couldn't tell you. I think I would close my eyes and throw a dart.
Yeah,
And right now, whichever it lands on, I wouldn't be surprised if they won.
dude. And A&M makes runs in the SEC tournament. I don't know why, but they
That's what I was
always do.
thinking about.
Yeah,
Right. I think Florida's on a hot streak though, and Florida has been in a decent hot streak, and they beat Auburn. Um,
yeah. They're still playing hard. Like they haven't quit. Some of these other teams they seem to be just kind of
just
getting
kind of
ready for
cashing
the
it in.
tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see,
I think
man.
it still depends on your momentum. Like ending the season is a
It's
huge
key.
because it the more confidence you have at the end of the season. I mean, the tournament starts next week.
Right.
Like
Because you don't want to come
so,
off of losses. Like that's the
right?
thing is it's like that's not going to do you any good. Like you want to know how to close out games. You want to know how to do this whenever you go. So I think best case scenario here, beat Mississippi State. Show everybody that you deserve to be in the tournament. Beat Mississippi State and make a run in the SEC tournament. And then if you do lose in the tournament, at least compete. Like be there
Right.
and hopefully it's against like an Auburn or an Alabama or something like that. Heck, if you get matched up with one of those teams, beat them, and then
Yeah.
you're in for sure. Like you may even get like an 8th seed. If you make a run in the SEC tournament, because all those teams in the SEC tournament are quad one wins. You're getting a bunch of
Right.
quad one wins each one you win. I'm going off over here, Sid.
I just see us facing Mizzou possibly in the SEC tournament first round,
Oh
and
no.
I know that's what I'm not putting it out there,
I
but
do
that's
not
what
want to
I'm.
play anybody we've already played because then you risk if you go one and done in the SEC
Oh
tournament.
no, I'm talking about in the SEC tournament.
Yeah. So if you go one and done in the SEC tournament against a team we've already played, that's not a good look. Like, we need to hold on to the wins. Now, the only thing that would be better, I think, is if we played Oklahoma again and beat them. You know, get a rematch against OU, beat them, and then like get a win over a Bama or an Auburn, Florida, Tennessee. Get a Tennessee rematch and beat them in the SEC tournament.
Right.
Because there's opportunities in that SEC tournament. Win some games in there, and you can
even Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Right. Although I don't want to risk it, man. I don't want to risk playing Georgia because they're right behind us. So if they beat us, they hop us.
You're right. Right.
Or we both get in. So it's either we like both get in. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Texas, Georgia, and Arkansas get in or what. You know.
So I think we're recording for sure next week, and that once we are there, see what happens after this weekend against Mississippi State, and schedule gets decided. It's going to be interesting to see how these matchups play out. Right now, we're just predicting, but all we can predict is hopefully a good run in the playoffs. And
all right. Well, anything else you want to add here? I think we covered every single possible scenario that could play out here. It looks like we both. I think we both have Mississippi State winning.
Oh no, I had Arkansas winning.
I mean, sorry. We both had us beating Mississippi State. Sorry, winning against Mississippi State, not Mississippi State winning. My bad. You're a good job of correcting that.
I was like, nope, not Tommy.
We don't want to end that. We don't want to end the video saying that. So,
and that's the Heartbreak Hogs podcast.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Well,
we need this win.
Yeah, we do, man. We do. Again, I don't think it's the end of the world if you don't win, but I think you need to get some wins here, get some momentum into the tournament, beat Mississippi State, win a couple of games in the SEC tournament, make a run in there, and I think you're in good shape because you want to show that you can win some of these games. I think that's kind of, I guess, the best way to end this thing is we need to get some more W's. We're in, I think we're in, but I still want to see more W's to be confident when that tournament starts. You know, I don't want to just go into the tournament going like, well, let's just win one game in the NCAA tournament. No, I want to be like, okay, this team can maybe make a Sweet 16 run, or this team can make an Elite 8 run, you know. So show us that this team can make a deep run in the tournament by beating these SEC teams. Because you'll probably have to play them in week 2.
You definitely will.
Yeah. So, all right, Sid. Well, let's wait and we'll see what happens this weekend. It should be fun, and then we'll talk more about the SEC tournament and what that could mean for the Hogs going into the NCAA tournament. So we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Again, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and commenting down below. We'll see you guys in the next video.